Hello, Recon87 here, and welcome back to Combat Mission Battle for Normandy. We are moving into the 5th mission of the Scottish Corridor campaign. So I had assumed from the briefing of the last one that this mission was going to be the use of B Company, and they're securing the bridge over the River Odun. So if you'll remember, we moved 3 platoons of infantry, it was an entire company of infantry, off map in the last scenario. To send him off the River Odun, but in fact that is not the case. We are joining other elements of B Company, so with 10th, 11th and 12th platoon, and we're actually trying to secure the village of Mondrainville. And in fact this is happening at the same time, so we're still on the 27th of June and we are at 10 AM in the morning, so about this time we were beginning our push on Normandy in the last scenario. In terms of forces at our disposal, as mentioned, we've got B Company from the Argyll and Southern Highlanders, 10th, 11th and 12th platoons. In addition, we've got some supporting elements of scouts, so a couple of sections here, and some pioneers from the support company. Interesting to note, actually, that despite the fact this mission is happening at the exact same time as our previous scenario, these scouts and pioneers are the same units that we had in the last scenario. So you notice they are under strength, our pioneers have no charges, and again our scouts are showing some casualties they've taken. And indeed, if you look at the OOB, and I did nip back and check, it is the same units we're using, so a little bit of incongruity there, but we'll forgive that. In addition to the infantry, we do have some light armoured support, so if I come down and have a look at these guys, we've got a few armoured cars. So we have 2 of these Humber 3s, recon cars with brain gun attachments on top. We have 2 of these Daimler 2s, which carry a 40mm gun with both HE and AP rounds. So that's the kind of armour assistance we have at our disposal. Later in the scenario, at about I think it's the 10 and also the 15 mark, we'll get 6-pounder anti-tank guns, each of those. We'll also get around about the 15-minute mark some additional armoured cars and access to some more 3-inch off-map mortars. Speaking of off-map support, at our current disposal we've got 1 battery of 3-inch mortars, which are empty, so we used them all in the Normandy scenario, and we've also got the 4 25-pounder howitzers, which we left quite a lot of ammo in, so we've still got 113 HE rounds. So this was our shared resources that we talked about in the last scenario. In terms of our objective, so as I said, we are securing the village of Mondrainville, just on the kind of western flank of the previous scenario. So if you spin around and we can have a look, Colville is just half a kilometre off map down this direction. And our job is to secure the flanks, and specifically to control or contest these 3 orchards, codenamed Marianne, Retty and Is. I don't know the reference there, but it doesn't really matter. In terms of the German forces, who are being opposed by some elements of the 12th SS, they are said to be resolute in their determination, however poorly trained and poorly equipped, so we'll see what that transpires into what equipment we're up against. Furthermore, they are expecting some light armour reinforcements coming from Mondrainville, just off the map here. So again, expecting probably some kind of armoured cars, potentially half-tracks, but we'll see what turns up there. In terms of overall kind of strategy, I'll say it's quite condensed in here. We do start with a fairly kind of open edge, you can see here. So my kind of opening thoughts and play is to going to be trying to move in and secure initially kind of this compound here, and then once we've done that, to make a next play through Is and to secure this compound there. And I think if we can get those 2 fairly securely tied up, then we can control the centre of the map, and that should make our life easier in terms of securing what's left of these orchards, identifying any kind of Germans, and kind of throwing the weight of our troops behind them. But I'd like to secure here because it gives us much more kind of control of the map. There's a lot of open areas around the edge which aren't really suitable for us with our obviously infantry to go bounding across them, and with the wheeled vehicles in these very wet conditions, it's not going to be a good idea to try and get them sprinting across the fields as well. They're just going to get bogged down and possibly immobilised. So, in terms of opening moves, you may have noticed when we were looking at our off-map assets that, if I can select my forward observer. Okay, sorry, map was acting up a little bit there, so just cut out that faffing around. So yeah, as I said, if we're looking at this forward observer, I have called a strike-in, kind of in the deployment phase of using some of the howitzers, just kind of all 4 tubes, but medium and medium, just to start putting some pressure on these buildings. Hopefully to, I don't know, there may be some, could potentially have foxholes in the middle. The AI Germans seem to like doing that. And again, just to kind of disrupt anyone that's in and about there. Meanwhile, we're doing a usual kind of initial push forward with the scouts. So we've got a couple of just 2 rifleman scout teams pushing into this field. I think we should be okay getting up to this line, in which case I'll push this platoon to hold that position. Similarly, I've got what's left of the scout section over here is going to push through this field just to get a bit more eyes on the map. I'm not really envisaging any kind of push up this line. I'm also doing some small forward advancements with the armoured cars. I don't want them to get too far ahead of the main troop, so I'm just going to push them forward a little bit until we get some better eyes. And the one other thing I'm doing is I'm going to swing these Bren carriers out into the field. It just gives a better angle on these buildings here. They are going to be a little bit exposed. I mean, if the Germans do have an AT gun hiding in this forest, for example, that's going to end pretty badly, but I don't think they're going to have that set up. As ever with the starts of the missions, I'll kind of put a cutting away and I'll just run through time until we spot some Germans or we get anything of note, and then I will come back then. And welcome back, and we've not gone very far at all until we've made our first contact. So we've stumbled across just some infantry hiding behind a hedge just in front of that building, and they just started taking some pot shots at our kind of scouts we were pushing forward. But our armoured car has also spotted them in return and is putting out some suppressive fire. So this is what I was talking about. I don't want to get too far ahead of my scouts and my infantry. I think they're going to have a bad day with my cars, because well, obviously this looks to be just an infantry squad, obviously some kind of machine gun. There's always a danger. Yeah, definitely decided that was a bad idea. You know, if we push too far forward and stumble across some infantry ourselves, there's a good chance they're going to have, I don't know, Panzer IV, grenades, Panzer Shreks, something or other, which is going to cause us to have a very bad day. So I do need to keep the reins in on those guys, just until I've got my kind of scouts out and I'm a bit more confident I know where the Germans are. So again, I'll do a little bit cut away just while the rest of these scouts get in position. If we do get any more excitement with these Germans we have stumbled across, I will of course bring you back and share that with you guys. And welcome back. So we've got a few more contacts have resolved themselves. So we've got another squad of Germans in there, and a third bunch of Germans in here. So far I think we've just seen riflemen. With we have seen some machine gun fire, so we know there's in fact there's a machine gun man there, so we know there's some kind of automatic fire in here. So it's probably just some kind of infantry squad. That said, so I have watched this replay. We do get a bit of a moment coming up. And as I was talking before about advancing too aggressively with my vehicles, and you see someone in here has a Panzer Shrek. And we were lucky that their aim is pretty terrible. I don't know if we can see them now that they've actually launched it. No, we cannot. But yeah, we probably got away with one there, to be honest. Our cars here are continuing just to put suppressive fire on these guys when they pop their heads up. And we do get hit by a little bit of machine gun fire, but it's not a problem. I'm going to watch his infantry. They're probably too far forward now. And our armoured car does respond with an HE burst of his own. And we'll probably have to put more fire down on their next turn to make sure that the Panzer Strike guy doesn't get another opportunity, because I do not want to lose an armoured car this early. It's interesting, I wasn't expecting to take as much of a defensive position along the hedges. I was expecting more find them entrenched in buildings, but certainly something we can adapt to. Meanwhile, I am pushing up with this platoon to try and take a bit of a position along this hedge and put some additional fire onto these guys, combined with the armoured cars that we're using. And that is the sound of our incoming mortars, which we had timed for 5 minutes, so they're going to start hammering down on this area. Excellent. So I'll probably keep you around for the next minute just to see what happens with this Panzer Shrek chap. I'm going to get... I'd like you to fire. This is interesting where he took a pot shot when he had a firm view of them, but now he's claiming he can't quite see. As is this guy, which I don't necessarily believe, to be perfectly honest. As you can see, the blue line takes us essentially all the way up to this hedge. So that could be problematic if we're not going to respond to them until he takes a pot shot. We have to look at what else we can do. Meanwhile, it's been very quiet on this side of things, so I'm tempted to get one of my sections to actually come up this side of the hedge, because obviously if they do get machine gunned down in here, I don't want this to be full of troops. That'll give them too many opportune targets. I'll probably just leave them where they are for now. I don't feel a great need to push forward. Yeah, and just let these guys get in position before we advance any further. So I'll probably just jump into the next minute and see what happens with our Panzer Shrek buddy. There's our mortars coming in. Don't even know if there's any Germans there, to be honest, but I think I'd rather have called it in than not need it, than need it and not call it in. I think we'll definitely hold this position until we get these guys along this hedge line, because they can also put some suppressed fire on this area before we try and push forward any further. Ended up being actually quite a quiet minute. Oh, that's it. I've spoken now, haven't I? Just give a pause. Who's made that spot? So is our armoured car. See if we put some fire out or not. Looks like not. Okay, fairly quiet. Alright, in that case what I'll do is again I'll cut away, assuming the next minute is also quiet as we do get these guys in position, and I'll bring you back when we start to give them a bit more order to suppress these guys and try and push forward again. And you were joining just at the end of the 54th minute, countdown to 53rd. We've had another spot of some additional infantry, unsurprisingly, in amongst this hedge. We've also survived 2 more Panzer Shrek charges, so I really rode my luck in the last minute. I think I'm going to have to pull back with these armoured cars because, yeah, I think we're really lucky not to have lost one, to be perfectly honest. But somewhat more surprisingly, and I realise I may have given the game away by this icon at the bottom of the screen, is what's appeared at the end of this road. So this light armour support that our briefing told us we may encounter turns out to be a Panzer IV. So that's really going to have to necessitate a rethink of what we're doing here. Just got a spot at the last minute, and yeah, our armoured cars are not looking so pretty. So I'm going to have to pull back with them essentially as fast as I can, but to be perfectly honest, I think we might lose one, if not both of them. I'm tempted to maybe try and get them to... I might get one of them to try and pull back into this field. Where you could get bogged down, but I don't think there's going to be space for them to both of them to traverse along this road. So that's yeah, that's pretty darn concerning. In fact, even if I come all the way along this road, where am I going to put them? Hide them behind a building until my anti-tank arrives, probably. Which doesn't... Well, it does in 3 minutes. So we've got 2 minutes till we get a 6-pounder, and then we'll see maybe what we can do against that tank. But yeah, I just I thought I'd bring you back, show that I was pretty upset when that turned up. Let's jump to the command phase. So yeah, as discussed, I'll give you the reverse orders for these cars, and then we'll jump back, bring guys back in as soon as we start the next minute. Okay, car reversing orders in place, and in fact our recon car here had already started to put reverse in place as soon as he spotted him, but it was at the very end of the minute, so he hadn't started moving. I am concerned that they're going to get popped in a minute, but we'll see how it goes. It's the last of our howitzers coming in, and oh, he popped smoke. That's really handy. Whoa! And there goes the shot from the Panzer. So hey, we got away with that one. Certainly not over yet, but escaped the first threat anyway. Oh yeah, I'm going to make sure these guys are hiding. Do we take a casualty there? No. Because he's dominating this position, which is making life incredibly difficult. Now there's tank traps there, so that's going to limit how far up the road he can push, but to be honest he doesn't need to. He can sit there and quite happily command a large portion of this area. But both cars have made it out. Didn't get bogged down. Ooh. I wonder if that was a mortar or a round of some other description. Give it a quick check. Not entirely sure what that was. I'll not worry too much about it right now. We got bigger problems. Okay, done. Good-ish. I'm probably going to get these guys. Oh, they're still not deployed. Okay. When you are deployed, I need to go into command phase. I want you to drop your mortar bombs on them, because I'd quite like to clear that out so I can use these armoured cars in support at the very least. This platoon's just going to have to hold this line, and we're going to get in a bit of a firefight. I'm tempted, actually I'm more than tempted, I'm going to do it, is to keep this armoured car in the field area and bring them up to support where they're going to be hidden from the tank. But I can't just have them all hiding this whole time. I bring you over this way, and then bring you up to here. I can bring you forward a wee bit more. Then, well, you should have sight on at least these three positions, if not that one, which is probably okay because that's where we know there is a Panzer Schreck, although there could well be a couple others lurking around. You should be able to support without drawing fire from the tank, and hopefully that'll give time for our AT piece to turn up. This Daimler is just going to have to hide, essentially. He's no good to us right now. Okay, anything else we want to push? No, we probably want to wait till this section gets in position and we start getting some mortars out before we try and push along here. I think it'll probably be with this infantry unit first, supported by the armoured cars. I think we're just going to go ahead with the next minute before anything else happens. But yeah, I was not expecting them to have tanks. Especially not medium tanks. Yeah, and the problem is without the armoured car support, then this just becomes a kind of a straight up fight. Which you never want to take. You always want to put the odds in your favour. At least we'll have support from one of our cars. Oh, see movement? Hang on. What movement was that? Do we see in running in Y? We've spotted headquarters unit pegging it for some reason. Maybe he's had enough. Yeah, it definitely seems to be falling back, which is... I'm surprised. Perhaps we have inflicted the odd casualty here there. Oh, hello, hang on. This is good to see. Let's bring this one back. So we see running away from here, we've got machine gun team. Just rifleman. Another rifleman, so that's an officer. Not seeing anyone with the Panzer IV. He could be injured. He could be part of another team. Not sure, but it's good that they're running away. I'm happy at that. And these guys are running away as well. Which is really interesting. How are you getting on? Not bogged, which is good. Yeah, they seem to be pulling back, so I wonder if it's part of their defensive plans to hold for a bit and then pull back. Interesting. So I think we will push forward with the section and we will bring up one of our recon cars in support. And we'll definitely leave these guys there where they are, take the pot shots so that they can. Right, let's go command phase. I do want these guys to push up. It's pretty far forward. Given that they're almost in full retreat, I'm happy to do so. And I am going to risk, and it is a risk, bringing this car forward as well. I'm tempted to get these guys to drop a few more bombs in there, just in case that there's an AT team still lurking. Because I really don't want to lose these cars. Okay, that's all the tweaks I'm going to make for this minute. I think we're just going to let our section here fire at the guys running away. Hopefully inflict a few casualties here and there, but it's not the greatest range. And our picks of children have not been the best shots to date. Oh, it's this recon guy's getting, not recon, the armoured guy's getting in. The Dimer. Alright, so that's maybe what convinced them to back off. That's good. It does show they certainly seem to have low morale if that's them running away just under the heavy machine gun fire. So probably wasting a few mortar bombs here, but I'm okay with that. And they do all seem to be retreating towards this area. So it looks like it's this might be where they plan to make their hold or make their stand. Okay, let's keep going forward. Where are you guys shooting at actually? So just trying to hit these guys through all the hedges. Okay. I'm not going to complain. Okay, one team has resolutely stood firm despite the fact that everyone else is running away. Or repositioning, perhaps, is a better way to put it. Yeah, there's no need for that now. I'm pretty convinced there's no one left here. Oh no, both those guys are still there. Okay, but that's going to give us some... Now that they've pulled out, 2 infantry teams, that's going to give us much more firepower against those guys, which I am happy about. So if we go into command phase, hopefully we've got an AT team has turned up. There we go. Where are you? Oh my god. That is not where I want you to be. Alright. So it's not the worst thing in the world, because we were expecting armoured reinforcements from Grainville, which may or may not... I mean, this could be them here already. They could be getting more. So I'm tempted to almost set the AT piece up somewhere like here. And just kind of guard this back area. It's not the greatest views. Certainly this hedge blocks a lot of that road. But to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what else to do with them. I'm certainly not going to trundle them all the way down here. And I do wonder if their tank has stayed there or if he has Don't know where else they'd go. Not sure, so I think, well, we have to clear out those guys and then push forward with a scout before we risk our dimer moving forward any further. Or Daimler, even. So yeah, I think in the first instance it might be a case of bringing them forward, just setting them up here. Because obviously we're, yeah, I'm probably not advancing any further than that, because I don't know about the Germans back in here. Even then they're going to be pretty exposed. Interesting things to think about. Okay, so we're going to keep pushing forward on this objective now. I think those guys have backed off. We are moving forward with this section, and we'll bring up some other people in support, and we can use our armoured cars a bit more aggressive over here, and then we're going to have to find out where that tank has gone. So I'll duck away, I'll do all my orders, etc., and then we will come back for another minute. Okay, so orders in, and I was looking at this AT piece and considering whether we could and should bring it all the way across to kind of guard this road. But actually, when I look down to it, there is no path for the Bren carriers to get through on this side. In fact, you've got to go all the way up to here before we can actually get in and across. So not really possible at this juncture. We don't really gonna have to secure all this farmyards on this side of a road before we can really bring a carrier over to that road if we want. At which point we are probably going to have our second piece. So I am going to try and just bring up to this corner. I'm a little leery about how isolated they are, but so we'll bring up there and no further. Don't know how much use it's going to be, but we'll leave it as there for now. One other quick thing I did want to mention. These engineers, so for the past almost 10 minutes, they have been sitting with an embark order on this Bren carrier, which has been classed as dismounted. But for whatever reason, they aren't getting in it. And I started the mission with them in it, and they wouldn't drive anywhere, and I got them out to maybe try and put them back in, but that seems to not worked either. So they're going to end up just being leg scouts for me. But I think part of the issue is it's part of the scout team carrier section, and I don't know if they suffered injuries in the last mission and were not here, or if they need a specific unit's drive. So I'm not entirely sure what the issue is there, but either way, it's a Bren carrier I'm not getting to use, unfortunately. That was about all the changes. So we can just jump into the next minute. I'm not expecting too much to happen here. Hopefully we can keep our suppressive fire going without taking any further casualties. Alright, seeing some guys running across the field. Who's getting that spot? Oh, our scout's down there. What can we see? Is it just the same? So those dudes are the same. But these guys might be new. Oh, hello Mr. Panzer IV. Okay, something to be aware of. Certainly not an immediate concern. Oh, I forgot to cancel his order. That's a waste of probably the rest of your HE rounds. No, maybe not the rest, but certainly 3 or 4. That's unfortunate. I wonder, actually I'll probably pull you back. You can restock from a supply truck back here. Seeing as that's a bit of a waste, but there we go. Well, that was a good hit if there was anyone there, but I don't think there is. So getting occasional spots of these guys. I thought armoured car might get in on this action, but it doesn't seem to be. Okay, a relatively quiet minute. These guys are doing okay. Let's yeah, jump into the command phase. Please dismount. It's a bit frustrating. It takes a bit of time because these guys are essentially all one unit. You've got to give a dismount order, then once they're out, give them an extra order. So they spend a large portion of 1 minute just kind of sitting around. There might be a more efficient way of doing it, but I'm not sure what it is. So for just people who are passengers in the vehicle, you can tell them to get out and move around just with the normal move command. That's a minor bugbear. So let's get our mortar team to pull back. Definitely clear of a target. Clear target and make your way back. Yeah, quick speed's fine. And just get yourself in this truck and we'll get you to grab some ammo. I had been starting to move these guys over. I have noticed they are going a bit of a wonky way though. So don't just from where you are, get yourselves as quickly as you can down. No, don't bother going around that corner. Get yourselves as quick as you can down there and then just move into here. That's my kind of reserve platoon at the moment. Just stand still and you just stand still. So we're not all crossing the road at once. Good. I'm tempted to even maybe push forward a little bit with this car. I will just ever so slightly into the field to give them hopefully some more vision of the guys down there. These dudes are just about in position. They're not seeing anyone. And we've got the rest of their section coming up behind. Platoon, sorry, coming up behind. Yeah, walking up road. Okay, no, that's good. Let's go through probably one more minute and then we'll call this episode to a close. So those guys are here. So we just have to keep the fire put on that. No more sight nor sound, importantly, of the tank. But we need to clear these guys out or get them to run away before we can really push forward with the scout. Oh, speaking of getting them to run away. Looks like we are indeed making them run. Oh, hello. And the dude, it does indeed have a Panzer IV, okay. So again, something we need to remember. Be interesting to see how far they run. Just to there. So not that far. So it's going to be something we really need to concentrate on when we're pushing forward our armour cars. And see where that explosion landed. Where are you guys receiving fire from? Is it really long range fire from these guys? No, they're running around. Looks like there might be some Germans kicking about in here. Not too surprising. Oh, look, we've at least hit one of them at some point. That's good. At least there's nowhere inflicting some casualties. And where was that explosion? That almost looked like it was off the corner of the map there. Indeed it was. So they must be calling in mortar, calling in, what's the word I'm looking for? Artillery, there we go, on us, which, I mean, obviously this is a very dangerous spot if we did have that marked, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We should hopefully be able to push forward and cross this gap. It's a bit more kind of enclosed terrain. But that is going to bring us to the end of this episode. I think a very strong opening start. You know, we have cleared off essentially the first defensive line, inflicted a few casualties. I'm not suspecting that many, but more importantly, we haven't taken a single casualty of our own yet. And we managed out of a scrape with that Panzer without losing any of our vehicles. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the first 10 minutes. Being said, we are going to have to make sure we keep getting some forward momentum, as we only have another 50 to clear out the map. We are going to have to keep an eye to find out where that tank pops up next. But I do hope you have enjoyed this, and I will catch you all in the next one.